It is times like these that I enjoy the community reaction, see everyone's surprise and excitement and shock at the exact same time. It makes the community feel alive. It makes the reactions feel more genuine. It makes the response and overall reception just feel beautiful to be engaged within. If you're a part of this community, whether you like Chainsaw Man, whether you read it on a regular, whether you read it once every couple of weeks, the fact that you can sit here and react to this situation, see everyone's global surprise at the exact same time is beautiful. I love it because it's times like these where it's elevated to its utmost, the maximum response that you could probably get. And we all knew it was coming. We knew something problematic was around the corner. The massive revelations that we have gotten back to back to back, they've been very critical chapters, very huge chapters. And now we are just getting started. We're seeing all of it come together to formulate into Denji's mind and how he would respond to this situation. We've gone from the back alleyway situation to the appearance of Barham, to trying to eat sushi, to finally seeing the one most powerful thing in his life, the person that he loves the most, beheaded right in front of him. How do you think Denji would respond to this? What do you think would be the most appropriate action to take? If your answer is anything related to the full armor pochita form and Denji losing control, you are correct. It is not light, it is not simple, it is not easygoing, it is full frontal assault. It is brutal, it is devastating, it is utter destruction. Now, of course, Barham specifically, but also public safety, are very prepared for this. That answers a lingering question of ours. Barham, Fami, public safety are clearly in cahoots. They're working together. To what length, to what degree, we do not know, but they share similar goals to get this form out in action. But what both public safety and Barham and Fami very much fail to recognize is that they can't control full armor pochita. They can't combat against him. They can't handle his power or speed, and this is something that has constantly happened throughout the entirety of this story. Full armor pochita is consistently underestimated, consistently downplayed, consistently not thought about to be a much bigger and global threat than one could imagine. The same way that you would handle a primal fear is the exact same way that you should respond to full armor pochita, yet they do not. They have 2 division teams on standby, but they also have a special division filled with a bunch of people with devil abilities and contracts, fiends, etc., etc. These are your big hitters. These are the power players that are going to make or break this situation. Who they really should have sent out is probably Quan Chi and Yoshida. Now those are going to be the big final hitters. They're the people that are problematic and one to worry about, but 3 separate teams. 2 we don't really know much about. The 3rd we get an introduction for. We get to see the squad that they've built in Special Division. People that have most likely been handpicked to try and deal with full armor pochita. That would be the smartest way to go about it, I assume. And yet none of them can actually react to this situation, consistently underestimating and downplaying what full armor pochita is about. I'm getting in over my head, so let me start from the beginning. Denji transforms, but it's in an incredibly brutal way. After seeing the head of Naruto, of course his response is instant anger and destruction, only centered towards Barham, as he's the one that has propelled this situation further. He's the one that's manipulating it. The craziest thing is that Barham doesn't die to the hands of full armor pochita, he dies to the hands of Denji. I find that to be very powerful. It might feel simple in its approach or something that you could easily overread or not even care about, but dying to Denji before he even transforms, strong. But the way he dies, oof. Denji has grabbed him by the throat, and while he's doing this, all of the intestines that wrap around his neck to thus create full armor pochita is currently in progress. So he's going through that transformation. That's all of his anger and destruction coming out to play, but he hasn't transformed yet. So it all just gets funneled into Barham. While he's choking him, rips off his head. Barham did not try to fight back. Honestly, I don't even think he had the chance to. His reaction time to this and the anger that Denji has is just something you can't expect. What is crazy is Asa seeing this commotion, seeing Barham's head come flying off, and instantly war comes out to play. She's ready to fight, but she looks shell-shocked. she's stopped in her tracks too. Now do remember, war has a lot of experience. This is her forte. This is what she's built for. This is what she wanted. But there's a part of me that thinks that maybe she wasn't expecting, or as usual, completely underestimated full armor Pochita. She does absolutely nothing in this situation. She can't do anything. I mean, realistically, what would you want her to do? To try and fight this thing? To try and stop him? To try and quell him? What would you expect to happen? So there's a level of fear that comes into play. That fear is problematic, especially for devils, because naturally devils will not feel that fear unless it's for something much bigger. Smaller devils are going to fear more powerful devils, primal fears, horsemen, etc. So when you have the strongest of the strong, when you have primal fears, when you have horsemen that are scared of full armor Pochita, that's when you know you have a bigger issue on your hands. Now you're probably wondering, what about Fami? What is she doing? Nowhere to be seen in this chapter. She's gone, she's disappeared. Now, Fujimoto does this funny thing with Fami that for some reason, depending on the situation, he will just leave her out entirely. Will not even draw her. You won't find her in the background. You won't see her weirdly seated somewhere, not even paying attention. She's just gone. Do I think she's gone from this scenario? Potentially. Could it be just another situation where it's trying to allude you to the idea that Fami's disappeared and doing something else? Definitely as well. Or it just could be Fujimoto's old-fashioned way of showing that because she's not prominent and because you expect to see her, he's purposefully left her out. She could just be obscured or out of sight. It's hard to tell in situations like this. When she is such a pivotal character for a moment like this, someone that clearly has a lot more of an understanding, control of the situation in total, someone that has been meticulously crafting and nursing this thing to happen, she's nowhere to be seen. I like that. It adds this element of mystery, this element of unknown to where she is and what she's doing. Is she working directly with public safety? Is she going to usher in her own team or her own group? Is she going to bring in a primal fear for Pochita to fight? That would be the craziest thing. And just a big reminder, they're not here to kill Denji. They're not here to kill full armor Pochita. There's no way that they can, but that's also not their incentive. Thanks to the words of public safety and their special division rolling out, their whole goal is to keep Denji here. Now, why do you think they want to do that? Why do you think they're trying to buy time with a devil that clearly is stronger and faster and has obliterated much more powerful beings before? I thought about this, and the only thing that I think makes sense is that Fami is trying to buy time. She's trying to summon something, more specifically, a primal fear. Now, my hope is that it's not just Fall. As much as I love Fall, as much as I love the idea and design and the prospect of Fall being a primal fear versus Denji or Pochita, I hope it's something else. Maybe even a combination. Maybe even just another primal fear that Fami has stored up. I don't think that she can summon this instantly. So if we kind of run down that train of thought, the whole idea would be that public safety are trying to keep Denji in this location, even though they're going to be outpowered, outmatched. If you can keep him here long enough, Fami might be able to do something, and she is the biggest problem here. So we buy enough time, Fami spawns in a primal fear and hopes to try and capture Denji. She wants to take control, and that is the biggest thing that we need to understand. Right now, Fami's main goal would be trying to starve Denji, to put him in a place or a location where he can't get out. Now there is another option here, the curveball. Asa in war. We don't know how she is going to react to this. Will she fight? Will she follow? Will she try to talk, communicate, understand, misunderstood? We do not know. And that leads to a very interesting conversation. Trying to brute force Denji right now in his most chaotic of states is unpredictable. You will never get concrete answers. But we did get a teaser for something a long time ago. When this happened in part 1, Kobeni accidentally was the one to control the situation. She didn't mean to do it, but she was the one that called for Chainsawman's help, provided food, and provided a date. She did not die, she did not quell, but she backstabbed what Chainsawman was doing. Could this be another one of those situations? Could they have Kobeni here trying to replicate the situation that only she knows. But I think Asa trying to do this, combating with a war even on what they should or shouldn't do, would make for a very powerful moment. I'm not saying that Asa is going to replicate exactly what Kobeni done, but we know that it's possible to keep him busy and in one place if he's connected with emotionally. Instead, trying to get through to Pochita specifically and whatever's going on within their body currently may be their only shot to keep him stagnant for a couple of moments. While all of these things make pretty good sense, the issue is that, again, we can't underestimate chainsawmen, because this is exactly what they do. All of it goes out the window when he teleports to Special Division. Mind you, these people are here with purpose to stop and stall chainsawmen, and yet none of them reacted to him. Not a single member turned around, mid-conversation, mid-step, no reaction, and he's already behind them. This is not a small distance, this is a couple of blocks away. To put it lightly, they're probably all dead. They look cool, they have interesting looking abilities and capabilities, but I don't expect any of them to put up a fight. I don't expect any of them to live. Do I hope we get to see at least some of their abilities come into play? Sure, but I'm not banking on it. The only saving grace, I think, for this is again Quan Chi, Yoshida, or maybe if they have designed this special division around Pochita specifically. They may not be able to handle power or speed, but maybe them trying to come back or survive or being difficult to kill would be better for them. Does that make sense? We are witnessing some very big moments, so prepare yourself. Every single week, something crazy is going to happen, and I don't know how long this is going to last. When we got this in part 1, we were very close to the end of the story, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's coming to that now. I don't think we're entirely far off, and this should be setting up the final stretch, saga, length of the story in itself. I am endlessly excited to see how this all comes together.